All right, week 13 picks. We are back in action, and 2 weeks to go in the regular season. Time is flying by. So here we are starting in the ACC with SMU playing at Virginia, and they easily win this game to stay in the hunt for the ACC title in their first year as members of the conference. A really good offense there from SMU. Another noon game on Saturday, Miami back in action against Wake Forest, a totally irrelevant team this year. Cam Ward trying to stay in the Heisman hunt, and he gets a big game here. 42-17 Miami wins, and they stay in the playoff race as well, trying to compete for that title in the ACC. It's going to be a fun race down the stretch between Clemson, Miami, and SMU. Ole Miss back in action after a week off playing at Florida. The most average team in football right now has to be the Florida Gators, and Ole Miss wins this game. It's going to be closer than you expect. I think Florida comes back in the end, gets maybe a touchdown late, but ultimately loses by 1 point there. And a fun matchup on ABC at noon. And then the big game of the day on big noon kickoff, undefeated IU playing at Ohio State, 11.5-point underdogs in this game. And I think these sports books are actually underestimating Ohio State here. I think they easily win this game. You could say maybe it's going to be a bit closer, but I just don't see Indiana scoring much on Ohio State's defense. It's so strong this year, and this game will not be very close, honestly. Speaking of not close games, Georgia hosting UMass. I think UMass is independent, no conference. But the thing about Georgia, they never cover these big spreads, so they're not going to cover it here. It's going to be a blowout. Game's over by the third quarter, but they're not going to cover that 42.5-point spread. That is way too much because they'll take out Carson Beck in probably the second quarter of that game. Cincinnati at Kansas State. Now Kansas State lost to Arizona State this weekend, ruining their playoff hopes. They'll bounce back here. This should still be ranked this week. I know these rankings here are from the previous week's poll. It's not updated yet, but Kansas State wins this game. Oh my gosh. It's one of those cupcake weeks in the SEC. Tennessee hosting UTEP. I guess they're warming up for their last game of the year, whoever they play. Tennessee. It's going to be 81-0 Tennessee. Put in the third stringers in the third quarter. UTEP is one of the worst teams in football right now. Texas A&M playing at Auburn. Now A&M is kind of a wild card right now if they're going to make the playoff or not. They got to win out the rest of the way, and they'll win this game easily over Auburn. 31-17, staying in the hunt for the 12-team playoff. And then going to some afternoon games here on Saturday. LSU, after a tough loss to Florida, back in action against a sneaky good Vanderbilt team this year. And if LSU loses this game, Brian Kelly's going to be fired, I think. But they're going to win this game at home. 35-25. I don't see a line for this game yet, but I think LSU's favored by probably 12.5 to 14 points in that one. Louisville, who lost to Stanford this week, they won't be ranked in the next poll. Hosting Pittsburgh, who also lost a heartbreaking game to Clemson this past weekend. Pittsburgh bounces back. They get their quarterback hopefully healthy again. We'll see. And they win this game in kind of a mini shootout. Louisville's defense is not very good this year. Clemson hosting FCS, the Citadel, on the CW network at 3:30 on Saturday. And it's going to be a thrashing 63-3. And Cade Klubnik throws for 4 touchdown passes in the first quarter of this game. It's not even going to be close. Here's a big one on Fox. Colorado going on the road to a sneaky good Kansas team who beat the number 6 team in the country last night in a shocking upset. Will we see another one here? No. Colorado wins this game. Their offense is explosive right now. Shedeur Sanders throws for 3 or 4 touchdowns a game. They're going to win this game easily. Penn State at Minnesota. I think everybody wants Penn State to lose a game and just kind of get knocked out of the playoff, but it's not going to happen. They're just kind of winning these games and staying in the playoff picture. And they're going to win this one again. So Penn State's probably going to make the playoff at 11-1. Probably get maybe a 6 seed in the playoff, 6 or 7 seed. We'll have to wait and see. And then BYU playing at Arizona State. If Arizona State wins this game, they will be probably in the Big 12 title game, and they'll win this game at home, defending their home stadium, beating BYU, knocking BYU out of the playoff. Their downfall has to be studied. And then what a weird SEC matchup here. Kentucky playing Texas for the first time in the SEC. That's really weird to see. I will take Texas easily to win this game, 42-12. Kentucky's not built for this game at all. Texas will run all over them. Probably a few touchdowns by Quinn Ewers, too. South Carolina hosting Wofford out of the FCS, another cupcake game here. And guys, this one's going to be ugly. I'm calling it right now, 94-0. It's going to be 56-0 at halftime. And it's going to be very, very ugly. Wow. And then another big night game here, playing at Yankee Stadium. Army, Notre Dame. Notre Dame getting huge numbers, 17.5-point favorites here. And they're going to lose this game outright. I don't see how they're favored by so much. Army's going to control time of possession. They're going to run the ball. They're going to score, 14 points in the first half, be up like 14-10 at halftime, and ultimately hold on to win the game. Great win for Army there. And then Missouri back in action against Mississippi State. Yeah, Missouri's not that good this year. They lost yesterday in a heartbreaking game against South Carolina, but they're gonna win here because Miss State just sucks. And then our only Pac-12 game of the entire season, the two teams in the Pac-12 playing each other. Washington State losing to New Mexico last night, and kind of a letdown game there. I think they'll win this game over Oregon State, though, and ultimately win the Pac-12 title in this game on Saturday. Check it out on the CW Network. Boise State playing another road game. They won yesterday after being down almost 21-0 against San Jose. They came back and won easily. And they'll beat Wyoming. Wyoming sucks. They're not going to compete in this game at all. And Ashton Genty stays in the Heisman race ever so slightly because, they're really propping up Travis Hunter right now to win the Heisman. Alabama playing at Oklahoma. Our last game of the night. Oklahoma really, really let down year in the SEC here. And Bama wins pretty easily in kind of a boring game on Saturday night. So that's it for week number 13, guys. Back next week for Rivalry Week. And I'll see you guys soon. Thanks. Bye.